So let's get started. You've had two very transformative experiences, and I know a lot of people have heard of near-death experiences, but not a lot
Hmm.
of people have heard of shared death experiences. So, but let's start with
Right.
your near death. Did that happen first, the near-death experience?
Yes, it
Okay,
did. That's what kicked off my spiritual abilities.
isn't that
So,
amazing? One of that, so that was the
mhm,
trigger for you that opened up all of your intuitive awareness. Beautiful. So let's
absolutely.
start with there.
I didn't grow up seeing spirit. I kind of believed in psychics, kind of was skeptic, mediumship, talking to dead people. Um, wasn't really sure. About 10 years ago, I was very sick. Didn't Took a very long time to figure out what was wrong with me. I spent a month in the neuro ICU, and I was hooked up to all these machines. It was a problem with my brain, and they were checking for seizures. And I remember one of the nurses saying, if we think you have a seizure, we have to first check the recordings, check the video, check everything. And that was something that just stuck in my head, and I remember I was laying there thinking there's like a person in that machine watching me. So one night I thought sleeping, and all of these people came running in. And all I could focus on was everyone had different color scrubs. And I thought, I wonder what this person does. I wonder what that person does. And I said to this one woman, what are you doing? What happened? And she said, you had a seizure. And I said, no, I didn't. And then I said, and you can't tell because you have to check with the man in the machine. I remembered her saying, and she said, oh no, you had a seizure. And that was the last thing I remembered, um, until I was in the presence of this light, this big, gorgeous, amazing, bright white light. And the first thing I thought was, this is exactly how they describe it on Grey's Anatomy. I had that memory. And I was like, now what? So I was in the presence of this light, and time just stood still. I have absolutely no idea how much time passed. Even when they came, running in, it's amazing how when certain things happen, time just kind of stands still. You have all of this time to think and process, and so I was in this presence of this light, and it was warm, and it was love, and it was everything I ever needed and everything I ever wanted and didn't even know what I want. It was just an abundance of peace and love, unlike anything I have ever experienced. If you think of the most amazing day or the most amazing love you've ever felt, doesn't even come close. I think I could win the lottery and it wouldn't come close. Although I'm still open to that, I'm still okay if that happens. But I also had conscious thoughts. I was aware of things I was afraid of. I was aware that I kind of always questioned what would it be like if I died, although it didn't feel like a death at all. That was the furthest thing from my mind. I knew I was in a new place and the place I would go if this life had ended, but it didn't feel anything, like a death. And I could access any part of my life as if it was just a collection of experiences, no time frame. So I was aware of things I had done. It was almost like I could pluck different memories. And the worries that I was aware of that I have in this life weren't worries. They were just thoughts. I was aware of it. I'd be anxious about this or that. None of them none of them was heavy on me at all. And when I woke up again, I was just laying flat. And again, I said, this is just like, on TV, no pillows, no blankets. And to this day, I have no idea what happened to me. I have no idea what happened to my physical body. I didn't ask. I don't want to know. That's how unimportant it feels. The experience was so much bigger. But I do want to say, lots of people see God, they see their loved ones, they have conversations, they get to look down on their body, and none of that happened to me. But I truly believe that we're shown what we need to for our own journey. Not too long before that, I had struggled with a major depression, and I had been recovering from it. But I think what my soul needed was to know that this peace was waiting for me, and this peace was attainable, and this peace would come one day. And I believe that's what I needed. And I say I needed to almost die to realize how much I wanted to be alive. If I had seen other people and walked with my God and all of that stuff, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have, wanted to come back. But it was amazing. I say, live your life. One of the biggest things I got out of it is live your life knowing that the ending is going to be okay. And it's kind of like watching a movie, when you watch a scary movie or a sad movie and you're waiting to see if they're going to reunite at the end, or is the dog going to live, or any of those things. Like, you're so anxious. And then imagine watching it again, knowing that there would be the happy ending. You could enjoy it that time. So now my goal is to enjoy it in any way that I can.
Thank you, Laurie.
Yeah,
I think
that's my
that
story.
it's so beautiful, and I know that I've studied some other people's near-death experiences, and they're all a little bit different. There's similarities, but they're all a little bit different. And like you said,
Mm-hmm.
whatever we need to experience is what will happen for us too. But I think that any experience that makes us want to live this life in a bolder, more profound way
Mm-hmm.
is a really good one too. And sometimes people go through very difficult and hard things. And if you come out of the other end of that wanting to really live, like be here present, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that's a gift. That's a huge gift. Because sometimes we don't know until we know. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And then the shared death experience, what kind of time frame was in between the two of those that you
That
had?
was wild. That was during COVID, during the height of COVID, where people were just losing their lives, and people were so scared. So I was one of them. I was scared, I was definitely struggling during that time, like all of us were in some way. Um, I love that comment. My 8-year-old son always tells me the best part of life is being alive. I love that. I love your son. um, so yeah, I was in bed, regular day, night, whatever. It was early morning, actually. And I thought I was sleeping. I was in that in between worlds where we exist most of the time. And I found myself floating above someone else's body. And I didn't have that experience when I had my own near death. And I was in the presence of someone else. I knew it was a he. He didn't have a physical body. He didn't have a voice. I was just with him. We were sharing this space. I did see his physical body, and I saw it being shocked in a hospital bed. And I was with this person in what felt like just space, just open space. We were both looking down at his body, and there was, again, no fear. It wasn't sad. It was absolutely beautiful to share this space with this other soul. And it was a knowing we communicated without any words, but a true knowing. And one of the things I asked him was, why me? And he said, why not? And those 4 words was the next thing that completely transformed me. Why not? Why not me? Why not you? We didn't know each other, but I knew him. We were connected. We were completely connected. I shared the most intimate, moment with him. And it was just a very sure knowing that he was going to go that way and I was going to come back to bed. And before he left, I said, but who are you? And he said, when you wake up, go on Facebook and you'll see. And then I was very much in my human mind and I thought, oh my God, like I don't want to go on Facebook. I don't want to see, because at that time we were losing so many people. So I clicked on Facebook, and a friend of mine's story came up, Facebook story. And that was the first thing that was there when I went on Facebook, and it said, rest in peace. My friend is an ER physician, and he had lost one of his coworkers that morning. And, everyone had like lined the halls of the hospital. He said it was a, really big thing. And it was him. Never heard of him, never spoke of him. I don't remember his name, but I know there's so many souls waiting for us when we make that transition. And it just realize now how that was an experience with one person. I can just imagine what it would be like when we're welcomed, with everyone. And if a stranger here can feel like part of me, that's an amazing experience we all have waiting for us.
Thank you, Laurie. It's such a beautiful story, and you don't hear those very often. And I've got, looks like Bernie is saying that he had a shared death experience with a friend of his. And so we have another friend here who's had a shared death experiences. It is very different. We're not as familiar with those, but I feel such a presence of beauty and sacredness as you tell your story. And thank you, Bernie, for sharing as well too. And I know you pretty well by now. We were on the work on the magazine together, and you've become my friend. And you are such a beautiful and deep, caring person and soul. And
thank you. As are you.
Thank you. And I know you were that way before these experiences happened, but I'm sure they helped to make it even deeper, even brought more of that presence,
absolutely,
out of you too. And
it's it just brings on a calming effect. Like I said, knowing that the ending is going to be okay. And I literally can't understand sometimes, like certain emergencies or stress, because I'm always the one that says, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because either way, it will be. It doesn't mean there's no stress here. I mean, my goodness, there's stress. I feel it. I'm still here in this human body, but it just gives sort of a different outlook on life. And I have a lot to do. That's what I always say. I have a lot to do
Yes,
here.
you do.
It helped me get my feet planted here, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I I think many more beautiful things coming ahead for you, Laurie, too. So
Uh,
it's beautiful. I the curious part of me is thinking like you sort of astral projected into this other person's room. Would you describe it as that? And hello to everybody who's come on. Thank you.
um, no, I literally feel like I was. mm, that it's so funny. I feel like I went there, and you could say that's astral projection, right? Like
Or maybe by location, because I'm sure I feel like there's a few curious minds. How did she do that? How did that happen?
yeah, I
Yeah,
I have no idea. I was just in this space, but um, there are a lot of term astral projection, or all sorts of different things people call it. Um, I feel like we're everywhere. We can be everywhere at the same time. And I always use Zoom as an example. I'm here in New York, but I'm also there in California. If someone walked into your room right now, they would hear me. And I'm also everywhere else people are, but still here.
mhm,
So our soul has so many potentials. I mean, I'm so lucky to have had those experiences, but I know there's so many more I could be having. We're so um, limited sometimes, and we doubt ourselves, but I believe our potential really doesn't have as many limits as we think we do. And ask for those experiences. Do you feel like you left your
yeah.
body to go to the other body? Um, my being was with this person. I guess my physical body wasn't important at that moment. I don't know. I can't even answer that.
Your your
My,
consciousness, your consciousness moved into another space.
yeah, my soul was
Yeah,
with him.
yeah. I love what you're saying because it reminds us all of, really the infinite awareness that we are part
Hmm.
of. And while many of our experiences being human are like you said, pretty focused and feel very 3D,
Right.
these things help to remind us that there is so much more. There's so much more, and we try to understand it, we try to explain it, but that's just like that's a little bit,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of
Hmm.
everything that's out there too. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
what a nice reminder for all of us to live our best lives and to its fullest potential. So kind of like it woke you up. Like it's almost like these death experiences actually were
Yeah.
waking experiences.
Yes.
They were coming
Yes.
to life experiences.
Hmm.